Welcome to Sci-Fi Bedtime Stories. Please like and subscribe, ensuring you never miss a journey into the unknown. Now, breathe deep, find your comfort, and let the story embrace you. Danny Cooper numbly observed the pulsing ember of a red light on his satellite dish calibrator, the nagging thought that this was the absolute nadir of his existence, refusing to dissipate. The blasted tool had been stubbornly malfunctioning for 3 months. His boss had ghosted him, and only the dwindling contents of a Budweiser bottle, its condensation etching rings into the cheap plastic tabletop at Murphy's, kept him from utter surrender. "You know your core issue, right, Coop?" Jake, his younger sibling, plopped down in the opposing booth, his auto mechanic's uniform smudged with engine grime. "You've just thrown in the towel on existence itself." Danny took a prolonged swig of beer. "I haven't bailed. I'm strategically repositioning. Repositioning into the welcoming arms of unemployment. The satellite repair industry is experiencing a temporary, shall we say, recalibration." Danny vaguely indicated the television bolted high above the bar, a newscaster droning on about governmental budget cuts. "It's nothing against you, Danny," Jake scoffed. "Everything is profoundly personal with you. Recall the time you abandoned community college due to the overcrowded parking facilities? It was a valid logistical obstacle, according to you. You were 26. Danny's phone buzzed insistently against the table. Another overdue bill notice, no doubt. He disregarded it, directing his focus to the dissipating foam in his glass. The aroma of stale cigarettes and shattered aspirations hung heavy in the air, a fitting atmosphere. "Listen, I get it." Jake leaned forward intently. "Dad always maintained you'd eventually find your path. Eventually is running out of runway, though." Dad said a multitude of things. Danny's jaw clenched. Most of them were demonstrably false. 3 stools over, a man in a disheveled suit emitted an inappropriately loud laugh at something on his phone. The sound scraped across Danny's nerve shears like nails on a chalkboard. Everything grated on him lately. The oppressive heat, the cacophony, the infuriating way people navigated life with clear purpose, while he was mired in bar arguments about parking challenges. "All I'm suggesting," Jake pressed on, "is maybe it's time to gamble. To take a shot. Place yourself out there." "Out where, specifically?" "Anywhere but this purgatory." Jake gestured expansively around the dive bar. "You possess a unique skill set, my man. You can mend things. You practically resurrected my transmission using spare parts and YouTube alone." Danny shrugged dismissively. "Fixing is the easy part. Preventing the breaking in the first place, that's the Gordian knot." The bartender, a woman in her 50s with biceps resembling tree trunks, slammed a clipboard onto their table. "You gentlemen interested in entering the lottery?" "What lottery is this?" Danny inquired. "The NASA thing. They are seeking volunteers for a space endeavor, supposedly offering $100,000 as the grand prize." She tapped the clipboard emphatically with a pen. "Doubtful, but entry is free." Jake snatched the pen. "Danny's definitely in." "I am not in anything remotely like that." Danny attempted to grab the clipboard, but Jake held it high, out of reach. "I avoid space. You mend satellites from solid ground, where gravity and oxygen and readily available beer exist. Come on, scaredy cat. What's the worst possible outcome?" Danny could conjure about 50 worst-case scenarios, starting with rapid explosive decompression and culminating in probing alien abduction. The beer had instilled a philosophical mood, however, and Jake's hopeful grin echoed their father's. The very same crooked grin that had charmed their mother into marrying a man who toiled fixing air conditioning units for a meager existence. "Fine." Danny grabbed the pen reluctantly. "But if I perish in a blazing rocket explosion, I'm making you my primary haunt victim. Got it?" He scribbled his name, address, and contact number in the designated spaces. The form required his occupation, educational background, and an unsettling section labeled Genetic Compatibility Preferences, which felt oddly intrusive for a mere space program application. He wrote Satellite Technician, some college, and Human Female, respectively. "Blood type?" Danny squinted dubiously at the form. "What variety of lottery is this anyway?" "The type that dangles $100,000, Jake responded. "Just complete the damn thing." Danny filled out the remainder of the form with the weary resignation of a man who anticipated nothing positive would come of it. The bartender gathered the clipboard and tucked it behind the cash register amongst a pile of others. "Results published online in 48 hours, she announced. "Good luck." Danny finished his beer, attempting to forget about the ludicrous lottery. He had more pressing issues demanding his attention, like the final disconnection notice taped to his trailer's door and the alarming grinding sound emanating from his truck whenever he executed a left turn. The lottery was simply one more impending failure. Another stinging reminder that he was the sort of person who drunkenly completed forms in bars, desperately hoping for the intervention of miracles. 2 days later, Danny was jolted awake by the growling purr of engines idling directly outside his trailer. He stumbled to the window, squinting against the harsh desert sun, and beheld 3 identical black SUVs parked conspicuously in his driveway. Men in crisp dark suits stood alongside the vehicles, meticulously examining tablets and whispering into barely visible earpieces. Danny grabbed yesterday's discarded jeans from the dusty floor and pulled them on. His initial thought was overdue taxes, immediately followed by the possibility of outstanding warrants, neither of which seemed statistically probable, yet both felt disturbingly within the realm of possibility given his recent life choices. The knock on his door was courteous, but persistent. Danny cautiously opened it to face a woman in a crisply tailored suit. Her face, etched with the passage of years, framed by steely gray hair, held a practiced smile, the kind perfected in front of a mirror. "Mr. Cooper," she began, her voice precise. "I'm Director Sarah Chen, NASA Advanced Projects Division. Congratulations." "On what?" Danny responded, puzzled. "You've been selected for the Elsarian Genetic Restoration Project. We need to depart immediately." Danny stared, dumbfounded. "I'm sorry. The what now?" Her voice was tight. "The lottery. You entered it 2 days ago. You won." She swept a hand toward the waiting SUVs. "We have much to discuss during the drive." "I didn't win anything," Danny protested. "I filled out that form as a joke." Director Chen's expression hardened. "Mr. Cooper, your selection is based on advanced DNA analysis and meticulous psychological profiling. This is a matter of national security and interplanetary collaboration." Her smile flickered, revealing a hint of steel beneath. "Also, you signed a legally binding participation agreement." Danny's brain struggled to catch up. "DNA analysis? When did you get my DNA?" Her tone was icy. "The pen you used at Murphy's Bar contained a microscopic sampling device. Very cutting-edge technology." "That's," Danny grasped for the right word, "illegal. Only if you didn't consent to genetic testing, which you did. Paragraph 7 of the agreement clearly states." Danny vaguely remembered scribbling his name on countless pages, assuming it was standard lottery boilerplate. "I want to read that agreement." "You'll have ample time during the drive. We truly must leave now." The subtle threat in her voice was clear, a delicate way of saying, "We'll force you if we must." Danny glanced at his dilapidated trailer, the broken satellite dish, the final disconnection notice, the empty beer bottles lined up like fallen soldiers of his failures. What did he honestly have to lose? "How long is this project?" he asked. "Initially 6 months, possibly longer, depending on results and..." She trailed off. "And I get paid handsomely." Danny eyed the SUVs. The men in dark suits watched him with practiced patience. Whatever this was, it was better than rotting in his trailer, waiting for the inevitable darkness. "Let me grab some clothes." "We'll provide everything you need," she replied smoothly. "The facility has specific requirements." Danny's unease deepened. "What kind of requirements?" "A climate-controlled environment, specialized clothing, and dietary considerations for optimal genetic expression." She paused, her gaze unwavering. "You'll understand once we arrive." Against his better instincts, Danny stepped out of the trailer and locked the door. The intense desert heat washed over him, and he wondered if he'd ever see Arizona again. The thought should have filled him with dread, but instead, he felt a flicker of something he hadn't felt in ages: curiosity. The SUV's interior was frigid, reeking of leather and sterile government efficiency. Director Chen sat across from him, absorbed in a tablet, while Danny mechanically signed document after document. The landscape blurred past the tinted windows, mile after mile of arid scrubland and lonely telephone poles, mirroring his own barren, disconnected existence. "Tell me about this genetic restoration project," Danny said, breaking the silence. "Earth was contacted 6 months ago by representatives from the planet Elseria. Their population is critically endangered due to environmental devastation and genetic bottlenecking. They require compatible partners to ensure their species' survival." Danny's pen halted mid-signature. "Partners?" Chen nodded. "The Elsarian government has identified specific genetic markers indicating compatibility with their reproductive biology. Your DNA profile was an almost perfect match." "Reproductive biology," Danny repeated, setting down the pen. Are you telling me I'm supposed to reproduce with aliens? With Elsarian citizens? Her expression remained neutral. Yes, the technical term is genetic restoration through interspecies bonding. Danny scoffed. That's a fancy way of saying alien sex. Director Chen's face remained impassive. The process involves emotional synchronization, thorough genetic compatibility testing, and yes, eventual reproductive activity. All voluntary, of course. Of course, Danny muttered, staring out the window. And if I refuse? You signed a binding agreement, she reminded him, her voice firm. Also, the continued survival of 2 intelligent species depends on the success of this program. No pressure. None whatsoever, Danny deadpanned. The facility shimmered on the horizon, a deceptive mirage, a cluster of stark white buildings encircling an antiquated observatory, linked by covered walkways and humming with the quiet power of hidden machinery. Danny had expected sleek, futuristic technology, but this looked more like a desert research station, suffering from delusions of grandeur. Home sweet home, Director Chen announced as they passed through the security gates. Danny's stomach churned with dread. How many people are in this program? You're the first, she replied, her tone clinical. The initial test case, if you will. Great, Danny said flatly. I'm a lab rat. You're a pioneer, Director Chen corrected him. The first human to participate in sanctioned interspecies reproduction. Danny desperately wanted to ask what unsanctioned interspecies reproduction looked like, but some questions were better left unasked. The SUV glided to a halt in front of the main building, and Director Chen gathered her files. Your quarters are in Building C. Meals are served in the communal dining area. You'll meet your assigned partners this evening. That evening, unsettling news arrived. Partners, plural. The Elsarian delegation, an unexpected twist, comprised 2 individuals, twins. They were quite eager to meet Danny. Parchedness gripped Danny's throat. Twins, Alar and Celine, each, he knew, exceptionally skilled in arcane restoration through contact protocol. A door creaked open. A voice murmured, I think you'll find them stimulating. A suffocating blast of desert heat assaulted Danny, exiting the SUV, a physical shockwave. Before him loomed the facility, a sterile, towering monolith utterly alien to the grimy bars and transient trailer parks defining his adult backdrop. Cold dread coiled in his gut. For the first time since abandoning Murphy's bar, a chilling thought crystallized. Had he just made the gravest error of his life? Yet retreat was impossible. The SUVs, his last link to normalcy, already receded into the shimmering distance, leaving him marooned with meager luggage and a creeping certainty his life had irrevocably veered into the realm of the utterly unbelievable. Danny's new quarters proved a stark, repurposed laboratory, optimistically outfitted with a utilitarian bed, a bare desk, and a mirror that cruelly amplified his profound confusion. Every surface, walls, floor, ceiling, gleamed in an unnerving, clinical white, a palette screaming either cutting-edge medical experimentation or, more unsettlingly, alien captivity. Given the surreal cascade of recent events, both possibilities felt terrifyingly real. A sudden rap on the door jolted him, interrupting his uneasy scrutiny of the room's suspicious, windowless design. Danny opened it to find a young man in a lab coat holding a tablet, wearing a resigned expression, as if he'd drawn the short straw. Mr. Cooper, I'm Dr. Martinez, your orientation coordinator, the man announced, his voice devoid of warmth. We need to review basic protocols before this evening's introduction. Danny's brow furrowed. Introduction to what? The doctor consulted his tablet. Your partners, the Elsarian representatives. They've received briefings on human social customs, but cultural adjustment may still be required. Danny trailed him down a long corridor, its doors bearing cryptic symbols utterly foreign to English. The entire facility hummed with an unsettling blend of hospital sterility and spacecraft isolation, a combination that shredded his already frayed nerves. What exactly am I supposed to do with these partners? Danny finally blurted. Establish emotional compatibility through graduated intimacy exercises. The Elsarian reproductive cycle necessitates deep psychological bonding before physical compatibility becomes viable. Psychological bonding? Danny echoed incredulously. Think of it as intensive relationship counseling, Dr. Martinez offered, with aliens. They entered a stark briefing room where a colossal screen glowed, displaying a bizarre hybrid of a medical chart and a dating profile. The chilling heading read, Elsarian Compatibility Assessment, Subject D. Cooper. Dr. Martinez gestured toward a labyrinth of graphs. Your neurochemical baseline indicates high empathy markers and adaptive stress responses, both exceptionally favorable for the bonding process. Bonding process, Danny muttered, a growing resentment for the clinical jargon curdling within him. What happens if we don't bond? A heavy silence descended before Dr. Martinez's chilling reply. Mission failure. 2 species remain on the precipice of extinction. Right. No pressure, Danny forced out, a sarcastic bite in his tone. Dr. Martinez turned, his gaze intense. Mr. Cooper, you must grasp the gravity of this. This is neither a jest nor a mere government experiment. 6 months passed, a desperate plea arrived from a dying world. The Alcerians, we estimate, have perhaps 2 generations left before total genetic collapse. They chose Earth because our species possess sufficient biological similarity for reproduction. How similar? Danny asked, a tremor in his voice. Similar enough. The differences are largely cosmetic. Danny's mind reeled, unsure if this was comforting or utterly horrifying. What kind of differences? Skin pigmentation, ocular structure, some enhanced sensory capabilities. Nothing that would preclude intimacy. The word intimacy lingered in the charged air, a silent, weighty question Danny felt utterly unprepared to confront. He'd signed up for a lottery, a chance at wealth, not an interspecies breeding program. The grim irony was that he had, in essence, agreed to this, a fact that intensified the crushing weight of the situation rather than alleviating it. Can I at least meet them before committing to anything? Danny pleaded, a sliver of desperation in his voice. Dr. Martinez consulted his tablet. The introduction is scheduled for 1800 hours. Formal dining protocol, standard social interaction guidelines. Standard for humans or Alcerians? Danny pressed. Both, hopefully, Dr. Martinez offered wryly. The hours that followed crawled by as Danny paced his sterile room, a whirlwind of disbelief and growing panic. In less than 72 hours, he'd plummeted from an aimless, unemployed satellite technician to humanity's inaugural interspecies dating candidate. The sheer, grotesque absurdity of it all would have been comical had it not been irrevocably, terrifyingly, his reality. Precisely at 1800 hours, Dr. Martinez reappeared, ready to escort him to the dining facility. Danny, having showered and changed, found the provided attire, dark slacks and a button-down shirt. Fit astonishingly well, he voiced. They likely scanned you during the drive, Dr. Martinez explained. Standard security protocol. You guys are thorough, Danny muttered. We have to be. This is the most crucial first date in recorded human history. The dining room itself was a tableau of enforced diplomatic neutrality. Familiar human furniture meticulously arranged around a table laden with an unsettling array of Earth and alien utensils. Soft amber lighting enveloped the space, creating a warm, intimate glow that felt less like romance and more like a carefully staged interrogation room. Danny slid into his designated seat, the smooth fabric of the chair doing little to soothe his nerves, and waited. His palms were already slick with perspiration, a physical manifestation of the monumental pressure, which seemed... It was like an outrageous gaffe at a global summit, yet felt perfectly sensible for a blind date with aliens. As the door swung inward, Danny was immediately certain there'd been a mix-up. The 2 figures gliding in looked too sculpted, too flawless to be real. Their movements mirrored each other's with unnerving precision, their steps echoing as if rehearsed or born of telepathy. Skin shimmered in hues of amethyst, a living aurora shifting between lavender and deep violet depending on the light. Bioluminescent tattoos traced intricate patterns along their arms and throats, geometric designs pulsing with a soft, inner light that echoed their heartbeats. Their eyes were enormous, liquid gold, reflecting light like a feline's. But it was their identical faces that robbed Danny of his breath. They weren't merely twins. They were perfect reflections, even down to the subtle tilt of their heads as they smiled. Mr. Cooper, the woman on the left intoned, her voice a melody that turned his name into a sweet song. I am Alar, the other added, her voice lighter, playfully lilting. And I am Celine. We have been so looking forward to making your acquaintance. Danny scrambled to his feet, nearly toppling his chair. I'm Danny, obviously since you already know that. Alar approached the table with clinical deliberation, her movements economical and precise. Your physiological indicators suggest heightened stress levels. This is expected in initial contact situations. Thanks, Danny replied, his voice slightly strained. That's comforting. Celine chuckled, a sound like wind chimes in a summer breeze. Sister, you're dissecting him like a lab rat. We're supposed to be charming. I am merely establishing baseline emotional parameters. You're scaring him, Alar countered, unfazed. Danny observed their exchange with growing bewilderment. Despite their identical exteriors, their personalities were sharply defined. Alar seemed to dissect everything through the lens of scientific inquiry, while Celine treated it like a playful game. So, Danny began, sinking back into his chair. You're from El Seraya, the third planet in the Zeta Reticuli system. Alar confirmed. Population currently at 2.3 million, and declining at a rate of... It's dying, Celine interjected bluntly. Our world is dying, and we're here to save it, with your help. Right. Danny reached for his water, his hand trembling noticeably. And you chose me because... Genetic compatibility? Alar stated, your DNA profile exhibits optimal reproductive compatibility with Elsarian physiology. Plus, Celine added with a mischievous glint in her golden eyes, you're exactly the right height. Height? Elsarian females are typically taller than human males, Alar explained. It creates complications during the bonding process. Danny felt a blush creep up his neck. What kind of complications? Logistical, Alar stated primly. Positional, Celine added with a wink. Danny took a large gulp of water. I see. Dinner proceeded with surreal normality. The food was recognizably human. Grilled chicken, vegetables, bread. But the conversation veered unpredictably between stiff diplomatic protocols and what felt increasingly like a rigorous job interview for a position he didn't comprehend. The Restoration Through Contact program requires intensive emotional bonding, Alar explained, slicing her chicken with scientific precision. Physical compatibility without psychological synchronization results in reproductive failure. Synchronization, Danny echoed. Shared emotional states, complementary neurochemical responses, mutual trust and attraction? Celine leaned forward, her eyes sparkling. Think of it as very thorough dating. How thorough? We'll be living together for the next 6 months, Alar stated. Shared quarters, integrated daily routines, graduated intimacy exercises. Danny nearly choked on his water. Shared quarters? The bonding process requires proximity, Celine explained. Don't worry, we'll start slowly. Shared meals, conversation, basic physical contact. Hand-holding, embracing, synchronized breathing exercises, Alar recited, consulting what seemed like a mental checklist. The progression is meticulously calibrated to optimize emotional development. And if I'm not compatible? The twins exchanged a flicker of a glance, lasting only a moment, but feeling pregnant with unspoken meaning. Then we try again, Celine said smoothly. With someone else? And your species dies out, eventually, Danny added, the weight of their predicament crushing him. Yes, Danny slammed his fork down. This is insane! You're asking me to save 2 species through consensual reproduction. Celine finished for him. It's actually quite logical. It's terrifying. Terror is a normal human response to significant life changes, Celine countered. We find it endearing. Endearing? Elsarians don't experience fear the way humans do. Your emotional volatility is refreshing. Danny looked back and forth between them, feeling like a lab rat caught in a bizarre experiment. Alar watched him with the intense focus of a researcher studying a fascinating specimen, while Celine's expression was more openly curious, as if she were trying to decipher a puzzle that promised endless amusement. What happens if I say no? You signed a binding agreement? Alar reminded him, her voice devoid of emotion. But hypothetically, Celine explained, you'd be forfeiting 2 advanced civilizations their chance at continued existence. Moreover, you would forfeit remarkably intriguing encounters. What sort of encounters? The sort demanding significant emotional readiness. Celine's smirk was undeniably alluring. Now let's commence tomorrow with fundamental compatibility evaluations. What does that entail? Harmonized respiration, shared contemplation, incremental physical proximity. ARA presented it as a clinical examination. Nothing intrusive. Define intrusive. No penetration of primary sensual zones during the initial evaluation phase. Danny's face flushed. Initial evaluation phase. The first week, Celine clarified. Following that, we shall proceed to secondary compatibility frameworks that encompass more extensive physical appraisal, mutual discovery of arousal responses, and enhancement of pleasure synergy. Danny's mind struggled to grasp this. You're referring to intimacy. Eventually, she stated, following adequate preparation, appropriate groundwork, emotional connection, psychological alignment, technical compatibility analysis. Celine's eyes gleamed with playful malice. Exceedingly thorough technical scrutiny. Danny withdrew from the table. I require a moment. Of course, she conceded. This represents a substantial shift for human consciousness. We comprehend, Celine added. It's a great deal to absorb. Danny moved to the window, gazing out at the barren landscape. The sun was descending, bathing the sky in hues of amber and violet that mirrored Celine's complexion. In the distance, he glimpsed the glow of the security cordon, a subtle reminder that departure was not truly an option. Mr. Cooper, Alla's tone softened, tinged with concern. Are you experiencing agitation? Danny turned back to them. I am experiencing everything. This morning I was without employment. Tonight, I am apparently the pinnacle of human hope for interspecies perpetuation. Does that alarm you? Celine inquired. It utterly unnerves me. Excellent, she remarked. Terror signifies an understanding of the stakes. It also means you are approaching this with seriousness. Alla concurred. Emotional investment is paramount for successful union. Danny regarded them. Two impossibly beautiful beings from another world, discussing procreation as if it were a scientific endeavor, and appearing genuinely invested in his mental well-being. The entire scenario was preposterous, yet it was also the most critical undertaking anyone had ever entrusted to him. When do we commence? He asked. Celine's smile was effulgent. Tomorrow, we will begin with fundamental compatibility assessment. And if we lack compatibility, then we will strive harder, she added. Failure is not an option. Danny nodded, feeling as though he were agreeing to leap from a precipice. I suppose we are proceeding. Yes, Celine affirmed, reaching across the table to grasp his hand. Her skin felt warm and incredibly delicate. We are. Her luminous markings glowed more intensely upon contact, and Danny perceived an energetic current surge between them. Not merely allure, though that was undeniably present, but something more profound, akin to a revelation dawning within his intellect. Was that? He began, rudimentary telepathic exchange. Alla explained. Your neurochemical reaction is most encouraging. Danny gazed at Celine, who still held his hand. I sensed something. That is the genesis, she stated. Tomorrow we will ascertain the depth of our connection. Danny's final lucid thought as they escorted him to his quarters was that he had decidedly received more than he had anticipated. The lottery had promised a considerable sum and adventure. Instead, he had acquired 2 extraterrestrial companions, a mission to preserve a species, and the distinct impression that his existence was about to become profoundly intricate. As he lay in bed, fixated on the pale ceiling, Danny mused whether this was the sensation heroes experienced before safeguarding the world. Terrified, bewildered, and utterly overwhelmed, yet also unexpectedly exhilarated. Danny awoke to the sound of his door chiming, a melodious tone that managed to be both tranquilizing and profoundly irritating. He rolled over and squinted at the digital timepiece floating holographically above his bedside table. 0603 hours. In his prior existence, this would have been the heart of the night. The chime sounded again, more insistently. Yes, I'm conscious, he mumbled, stumbling toward the door in yesterday's attire. He opened it to find Celine standing in the corridor, clad in what appeared to be a form-fitting garment that shifted between silver and purple. Her bioluminescent tattoos pulsed in slow, captivating patterns. Good morning, Danny, she announced, her voice possessing that musical quality that transformed his name into a melody. Are you prepared for your inaugural compatibility assessment? Danny ran a hand through his hair, attempting to awaken fully. What time is it? Dawn, the optimal period for establishing neurological baselines. She inclined her head, observing him. You appear disheveled. I appear human. We are not early risers. Fascinating. She produced a small instrument and made a notation. Alla had theorized that human biological rhythms would impede the bonding process. Danny yawned. Can I shower first? Of course, Celine replied. 20 minutes later, synchronized breathing exercises commenced. He showered, wrestling with the bizarre reality. Yesterday, a failed satellite technician. Today, participating in breathing exercises with an alien woman, meticulously documenting his disheveled state as scientifically crucial. The bathroom held alien toiletries, ozone-scented soap, electrifying shampoo, a humming toothbrush. Emerging, he felt more alert, yet equally bewildered. Celine and Lara carrying a medical tablet, her expression professionally curious awaited. Good morning, Mr. Cooper, Celine greeted. Your sleep data shows REM disruption, indicating significant psychological stress. You monitored my sleep? Danny asked, incredulous. Standard protocol, Lara responded, consulting her tablet. Your theta waves suggest intense cognitive processing during dreams. I dreamt of purple women and genetic compatibility tests, Danny mumbled, bewildered. Celine chuckled. Pleasant? Heat flooded his cheeks. Classified, he muttered. Lara smiled, marking her tablet. Embarrassment confirms healthy boundaries. They led him to a circular room, bathed in soft light, meditation cushions arranged in a triangle, the walls shifting in response to their presence. The synchronization chamber, Celine explained. We'll start with breathing, then emotional resonance protocols. Emotional resonance protocols? Danny echoed, a note of apprehension in his voice. It's quite pleasant, Lara reassured, settling gracefully. Intensive meditation with telepathic enhancement. Telepathic enhancement. Danny sank onto a cushion, its form molding to his body, comforting yet slightly unnerving. Should I be worried? He asked anxiously. Celine's eyes twinkled. Only if you're hiding something. Alora added, the bonding process demands complete emotional transparency. Danny shifted, unease prickling his skin. Complete, eventually, Celine added reassuringly, her smile mischievous. We'll begin with surface thoughts, then we'll delve deeper. Surface thoughts, current feelings, immediate concerns, basic attraction indicators. Alora's meditative posture heightened the intensity. Nothing invasive yet, Celine clarified. The breathing exercises began. Danny mirrored their rhythm, battling distractions, their synchronized movements triggering unwelcome thoughts of other rhythmic activities. Good, Lara murmured. Your breathing adapts to ours. Is that significant? Danny asked. Physiological synchronization precedes emotional synchronization, the first step in bonding, Celine explained patiently. Closing his eyes, Danny focused on his breath. The soft light seemed to penetrate his eyelids. He sensed a subtle hum machinery, or the twins themselves. Alora's voice, hypnotic, announced, Now, basic telepathic contact. Danny's eyes snapped open. I thought you said non-invasive. Celine's eyes sparkled. Surface contact only. Emotional resonance, not thought invasion. What's the difference? Thought invasion accesses memories, fears, embarrassing childhood moments. Celine chuckled. Emotional resonance is feeling what you feel, far less invasive, though potentially more intimate, Lara added softly. What do I do? Danny asked, overwhelmed. Relax, Celine urged. Feel whatever you feel. Don't control it. Terrifying advice, Danny muttered. Terror's an emotion, an excellent baseline, Alora noted dryly. Danny closed his eyes, striving for relaxation. The humming intensified. A warm electricity built in the air. His skin tingled. Sensations sharpened the cushion. The air's gentle movement, their breathing. Then, a warm pressure bloomed in his chest, spreading like liquid sunlight. He gasped, opening his eyes to find the twins observing him with intense concentration. Astounding. Remarkable. Alar breathed, awe lacing her voice. Your emotional resonance is profoundly stronger than anticipated. Danny grappled for words, a dizzying swirl of sensations. I can feel it. Both of you. What do you feel? Celine asked softly. His gaze flickered between her and Lara, trying to untangle the flood of perceptions. Curiosity, he began. Excitement, something akin to affection. He paused. And competition. A swift, knowing glance passed between the twins. Competition. Alar's voice was meticulously neutral. From both of you. You're measuring yourselves against each other. Celine's bioluminescent tattoos pulsed brighter. That's exceptionally perceptive. Alar's brow furrowed, consulting her tablet with disquiet. The emotional resonance was projected to be unidirectional. You shouldn't discern our emotional states. Maybe I'm a natural, Danny offered, a wry grin. Or perhaps, Celine countered, a note of satisfaction. You're far more compatible than we had hoped. Danny caught the quiet pleasure shimmering around her. The session stretched for another arduous hour, Danny meticulously dissecting the torrent of emotional data. By its conclusion, he felt utterly drained, as though he'd simultaneously run a grueling marathon and aced a terrifying final exam. Excellent progress, Alar declared as they prepared to leave. Tomorrow, we advance to secondary compatibility protocols. Physical contact assessment. Celine offered a mischievous smile. Don't worry, We'll start with hand-holding and work our way up. Work our way up to what? Danny swallowed hard. Full tactile compatibility evaluation, Alar explained clinically. It's essential for optimal physical bonding configurations. A flush crept across Danny's cheeks. Configurations? Positions, Celine clarified, her tone deceptively helpful. For reproductive activity. Right, of course, Danny mumbled, reeling. They escorted him to the dining facility. Elsarian cuisine, Danny discovered, astonishingly resembled human food, if it subtly glowed and tasted as though seasoned with starlight. The molecular similarity between our species is truly remarkable, Alar observed, dissecting a shimmering, luminescent protein resembling chicken. Our evolutionary paths diverged relatively recently, in cosmic terms. How recently? Danny prompted. Approximately 50,000 years ago, both species descended from the same foundational seed population. Danny froze, his fork suspended. Seed population? You mean the predecessors? Celine answered casually. They seeded dozens of worlds with compatible genetic material before simply vanishing. Vanishing where? Danny pressed, a knot forming in his stomach. Unknown. They left behind only genetic blueprints and rudimentary technological frameworks. He lowered his fork. So, we're all related. Distantly, Alar confirmed. Close enough for reproductive compatibility, yet distant enough to avert genetic stagnation. That's oddly comforting, Danny mused, a strange sense of belonging blossoming. It should be, Celine agreed. It signifies we're not as disparate as we seem. You're purple and telepathic. I'm pale and profoundly confused, Danny retorted. Alar waved a dismissive hand. Those are mere cosmetic distinctions. The crucial similarities are genetic and neurological. Speaking of neurological, Celine interjected, leaning forward with palpable interest, your telepathic sensitivity is remarkably high for a human. Have you experienced any psychic phenomena prior? Danny pondered. I used to just know when my brother was in trouble. Not just worry, but actually know. And I'm pretty good at reading people. Fascinating, Alar murmured, making meticulous notes. Latent psychic ability would certainly account for your rapid adaptation to the bonding process. Is that good or bad? Danny asked, trepidation. It's excellent, Celine declared, a predatory glint. It means the deeper protocols will be significantly more effective. The conviction in Celine's voice as she said effective sent a jolt through Danny, his pulse quickening. What kind of deeper protocols? Alar detailed them. Emotional integration, psychological synchronization, and eventually, she paused, choosing her words carefully. Intimate compatibility assessment. Intimate. How intimate? Danny pressed, a nervous tremor. Very, Celine purred, her grin undeniably flirtatious. After lunch, they embarked on a comprehensive tour. The facility was far vaster than Danny had perceived, a sprawling network of interconnected buildings linked by enclosed walkways. It housed laboratories, medical facilities, communication centers, and recreational zones designed for both human and Elsarian physiology. This, Celine announced, opening a door, is the integration suite. Danny peered into a room blending the opulence of a luxury hotel with a medical facility. This, he realized, was where final compatibility assessments would unfold. The space was dominated by a colossal bed, unequivocally sized for 3, encircled by intricate monitoring equipment and sophisticated mood lighting controls. A panoramic window offered a breathtaking vista of the desert, and on the balcony, an inviting hot tub. Final compatibility assessments, he echoed, the phrase tasting foreign. The reproductive compatibility phase, Alar clarified, dispassionately. It necessitates intimate physical contact under rigorously controlled conditions. Controlled how? Danny managed, his voice barely a whisper. Biometric monitoring, neurological feedback, genetic compatibility confirmation, she enumerated, gesturing to the instruments. We must ensure optimal conditions for successful reproduction. Danny's mouth went instantly dry. Reproduction? He croaked. Eventually, Celine affirmed, her gaze unwavering, after we've established proper emotional bonding. How long will it take? She considered him. For some, weeks. Others, months. Her golden eyes held his gaze. For you, perhaps less. Based on what? Danny asked, intrigued. Your telepathic sensitivity, emotional depth, she paused, her tattoos subtly glowing, and physical compatibility factors, What factors? Her tablet chimed. Pheromone response, pupil dilation, cardiovascular changes during proximity. She looked up, her expression unreadable. Your body is already showing indicators of high compatibility. Danny felt exposed, like a specimen under glass. You're constantly monitoring my pheromones. Celine interjected. It's subconscious, Danny, but your body is sending attraction signals to both of us. The twins exchanged a meaningful glance. Indeed, Alar said carefully, which introduces complications. What kind? The program prioritizes one-on-one bonds, one human, one Elcarian. However, your readings are exceptionally high for both. Danny stared, bewildered. So what happens now? Alar said, we'll determine the optimal long-term partner through extensive compatibility assessments. We're competing for you, Celine added, a brittle smile playing on her lips. A shiver ran down Danny's spine. Competing how? By demonstrating superior compatibility, emotionally, intellectually, physically, Alar stated. It's not personal, Danny, Celine quickly said. It's essential. Essential for what? He pressed. For establishing primary bonding status, Alar explained. The one with the highest compatibility will be designated the primary reproductive partner. And the other returns to Elsaria, Celine quietly finished, to await reassignment with another human candidate. Danny looked from one to the other, sensing the tension beneath their professional masks. So one of you saves your species and the other goes home defeated? Essentially, Alar confirmed. Danny struggled for the right word. That's awful. It's practical, Alar said, unflinching. Resources are finite, and the program demands focused bonding. But your sister. We're trained professionals, Danny, Celine said, her tattoos pulsing. We understand the parameters. Danny looked at the suite, the bed, the equipment, the hot tub where he was to assess compatibility with two women vying for the right to bear his children. This is insane! This is necessary, Alar corrected. The survival of two intelligent species hangs in the balance. And you're both okay with this? Competing against each other? We're prepared, Celine said. We've trained for this since childhood. Training to compete for human men? Training to save your people by any means necessary? Alar stated, her voice resolute. Danny walked to the window, the desert stretching before him, the security perimeter a stark reminder of his confinement. He heard the twins murmuring in their native tongue. Mr. Cooper? Alar's voice softened. Are you distressed? Danny turned. I'm experiencing everything. This morning, synchronized breathing. Now I'm the prize in an interspecies contest. You're not a prize, Danny, Celine said. You're a partner, a crucial partner for one of us. For the right one, Alar added. The one who proves most compatible. Danny stared at them. Two beautiful women, conditioned since birth to vie for the survival of their race. The whole situation was tragic, absurd, and utterly beyond comprehension. When does this competition begin? He asked. It already has, Celine answered. Every interaction, every test, every moment is part of the assessment. Great, no pressure. None whatsoever, Alar said, a flicker of a smile on her face. As they walked toward the main facility, Danny wondered if this was what it felt like to be the nexus of the universe, with two civilizations depending on his DNA, while the women competing for him pretended it was just business. But beneath the surface, he felt a growing affection and a troubling sense that the competition would wound them both, more deeply than they admitted. The next morning, Danny woke to a stark illustration of what competing for compatibility truly meant. Both twins waited outside his door, each holding a carefully arranged breakfast tray. Good morning, Danny, Celine said, her smile bright and meticulously crafted. I brought you. Something extraordinary awaited. Good morning, Mr. Cooper, Alar greeted, her voice carefully neutral, yet her gaze held an intensity. I've curated an optimized nutritional profile for your evaluation protocols today. Danny's eyes darted between them, sensing the simmering tension. You both brought me breakfast. I've brought cressifruit, Celine announced, presenting a luminous orange orb. It's an Elsarian tradition, a courtship gift. I engineered a scientifically balanced meal to optimize your neurochemical responses, Alar countered, unveiling a tray of what resembled Eggs Benedict, glowing with a faint blue light. Courtship gift? Danny seized on the unsettling phrase. It's symbolic, Celine clarified. Sharing food is how Alsarians demonstrate romantic interest. I wasn't implying romantic interest, Alar corrected swiftly. I was optimizing biological function. Of course, dear sister. Celine's tone dripped with honeyed sarcasm. Always the pragmatist. Danny recoiled, the shift in dynamics overwhelming him. Yesterday they were colleagues. Today they were rivals, and he was the prize they sought. Perhaps we could dine together? He proposed. All three of us. An excellent proposition, Alar agreed. Shared meals foster bonding chemistry. And I can elucidate the cultural significance of the Kreska fruit, Celine added, her tattoos subtly pulsating with an undeniable competitive zeal. Settling into the dining facility, Danny found himself sandwiched between the twins, 2 breakfasts laid before him. The Kreska fruit tasted of honeyed oranges, its effervescent quality making his tongue dance. Alar's neurochemically optimized meal was surprisingly delicious, despite its scientific origins. This is good, he offered, hoping to diffuse the tension. Both are. The Kreska contains compounds that elevate telepathic sensitivity, Celine explained. Consuming it together forges a fleeting emotional bond. Fleeting? Unless sustained through intimate proximity, Celine clarified. Danny almost choked. Intimate proximity? Alar listed clinically. Physical closeness, shared respiration, tactile interaction, standard bonding protocol. I thought we were initiating with hand-holding, Alar clarified. We are, Celine purred, but the Kreska will amplify the experience. How amplified? You'll perceive what we perceive, Alar elucidated. Emotional resonance, physical sensations, telepathic feedback. Danny placed his fork down. And this is safe? Perfectly safe, Celine assured him. Merely intense. Define intense. Every emotion amplified, Alar stated. Every sensation heightened. Every thought shared while holding hands. While holding hands, Celine confirmed. Progressing to more comprehensive engagement tomorrow. Comprehensive how? Embracing, synchronized breathing, tactile exploration. Alar's detached tone made it sound like a medical procedure. Full body compatibility assessment. Danny's pulse quickened. Full body? Necessary for reproductive compatibility confirmation, Celine said. We must assure optimal physical harmony. Physical harmony? Sexual compatibility, Alar clarified matter-of-factly. The capacity for mutual satisfaction during procreative activities. Danny's face flushed crimson. You're going to test my sexual compatibility? We're going to evaluate your sexual compatibility, Celine corrected, through graduated physical interaction. Graduated, progressive intimacy, Alar elaborated, beginning with basic contact and advancing to comprehensive evaluation. Comprehensive evaluation of what? Everything, Celine said, with a grin that lacked all scientific objectivity. Endurance, technique, adaptability, reciprocal pleasure response. Danny pushed away from the table. I need air. The Kreska is activating, Alar observed. His neurochemical responses are spiking. Is that positive or negative? Promising, Celine stated. Strong reactions denote high compatibility potential. Danny retreated to the window, struggling to process the situation. He could feel the Kreska surging within him, a warm, electric current that heightened his awareness of the twins' presence. Turning back, he found them regarding him with identical expressions, scientific curiosity laced with something deeper. The hand-holding, he stammered. When does that commence? Now, they said, rising in unison. They returned to the synchronization chamber, where the meditation cushions had been replaced with a single larger one designed for 3. Danny sat in the center, acutely aware of the twins settling on either side. Begin with basic contact, Alar instructed. Palm to palm, fingers interlaced. Danny took their hands, immediately registering the electric warmth of their skin. The Kreska amplified the sensation, like touching live wires that felt exhilarating rather than painful. Breathe, Celine murmured. Softly, Danny urged, let the connection unfold organically. Closing his eyes, he focused on his breath, feeling a current surge up his arms, a shared energy flowing between the 3 of them. It wasn't merely physical touch. It was a deep emotional resonance. He sensed their eagerness, their apprehension, and the subtle competition for his attention. Remarkable, Alar whispered, amazed. The telepathic feedback surpasses all projections. Celine inquired, what are you perceiving? Danny opened his eyes. Both of you, simultaneously. Alar, you feel like pure curiosity and sharp precision analyzing, yet relishing the process. Celine, you radiate exhilaration and playful mischief. You're enjoying this, but also vying for something. For me? Celine questioned. For my attention? For the very right to save your people? Danny clarified, for the right to survive. The twins exchanged a loaded glance, a silent conversation conveying volumes in mere seconds. The competition isn't personal, Alar stated carefully. It feels intensely personal, Danny countered. It is personal, Celine admitted. We're sisters, yes, but also rivals now. Only one of us can remain here. The other must return to Ilaria to potentially wait for another chance. Alar corrected her, adding softly, if one ever arises. Danny gazed at their clasped hands, the emotional current a tangible thing. This is wrong, he murmured. No, the competition is wrong, he insisted. You're sisters. You should be a united front, not adversaries. We are united, Celine insisted, in determining which of us is most compatible. But what if you are both compatible? Danny challenged. That's impossible, Alar stated. The program mandates exclusive pair bonding. Says who? Danny pressed. The Elsarian Council, the human government, the program's architects, Alar replied. Danny felt a prickle of irritation, a sentiment mirrored instantly by both twins. Perhaps the program is flawed. The program is founded on extensive research, Alar argued. Pair bonding ensures optimal offspring and emotional stability. But what if it's not optimal? Danny mused. What if 3 could achieve more than 2? That's not how reproduction functions, Celine said. Not human reproduction, certainly. But you aren't human. The twins regarded him with surprise. You're suggesting, Alar began. I'm suggesting that perhaps the solution isn't choosing between you, Danny clarified. Perhaps the solution is choosing both of you. That's simply not feasible, Celine stated quickly. The program doesn't permit multiple primary bonds. The program also doesn't account for much else that's happening, Danny pointed out, like me feeling both of you telepathically right now. That is unusual, Alar conceded. Perhaps unusual is precisely what we need. A quiet moment passed, their hands still entwined as Danny felt their confusion, hope, and fear swirling together in their telepathic bond. The Council would never endorse this, Celine stated finally. The Council isn't here. We are. The human government would never sanction it, Alar added. The human government viewed this as a lottery. They're clearly not the sharpest tools. A faint smile touched both their lips. It's impossible, Celine reiterated. Even if we desired it. Do you desire it? Danny asked, looking at both of them. Another pregnant pause hung in the air. We desire to save our species, Alar said carefully. We desire to remain together, Celine added more softly. We desire not to be forced to choose between survival and sisterhood, Alar concluded. Danny tightened his grip on their hands. Then perhaps we don't choose. Perhaps we forge a third path. What kind of third path? Celine asked. I don't know yet, Danny admitted, but I know that competing against each other is making you both miserable, and miserable partners don't make good partnerships. You're suggesting we collaborate instead of contend? Celine queried. I'm suggesting we discover a way to save everyone, not just a select few. Alar considered this. That's remarkably logical, but also profoundly dangerous, Celine added, if the Council discovers we're deviating from protocol. Then we don't inform them until we have tangible results, Danny proposed. We run the compatibility test with all 3 of us working in unison. If it succeeds, we present it as a program enhancement. If it fails, we're no worse off than we are now. The twins exchanged a significant look, and Danny felt the weight of their decision, a potent mix of hope, fear, and desperate resolve passing through their joined hands. We'd have to be incredibly careful, Alar murmured. We'd need absolute trust in each other, Celine added. And we'd have to be prepared to risk everything, Danny finished. Another silence settled, thick with the gravity of their choice. Very well, Alar finally agreed. We'll attempt it your way. Together, Celine affirmed. Together, Danny echoed. As their hands parted, Danny sensed a fundamental shift in the atmosphere. The air shifted, no longer charged with the desperation of survival, but with the thrill of a shared challenge. What happens now? He voiced, his words echoing the unspoken question. Now we begin the real compatibility testing. Celine responded, all 3 of us, working as one. How do we manage that? Ara's reply was measured, very carefully, and likely, quite intimately. Danny's pulse quickened. Intimately? How? Celine offered a smile, a captivating blend of mischief and apprehension. We'll discover that, together. That night, cradled in his bed, Danny gazed at the ceiling, questioning his newfound path. The twins, having retreated to recalibrate their approach, left him with a thrilling, yet ominous sense of anticipation. The echo of their telepathic bond resonated within his mind, a warm, persistent current. It was a sensation both wondrous and terrifying, mirroring his imagined experience of falling for extraterrestrials. Yet it transcended mere fascination. For the first time, Danny felt a profound sense of purpose. This wasn't about fixing satellites or winning lotteries. It was about safeguarding species, about altering the very fabric of history. While he acknowledged the potential for the most complex relationship in human history, that was a concern for the morrow. Tonight, he reveled in the astonishing metamorphosis of his life, from the mundane to the miraculous, all within a single week. As sleep began to claim him, urgent whispers, in what he recognized as the twins' native tongue, drifted from the hallway. He rose, a silent predator, and pressed his ear against the door. Though the words eluded him, the raw emotion, anger, frustration, and a palpable undercurrent of fear was undeniable. Their voices escalated, and he caught his name, entwined with what he suspected were Elsarian imprecations. Then, silence descended. He waited, straining his ears, but heard nothing more. Just as he turned to retreat to his bed, his door chimed. Opening it, he found both twins there, adorned in nightgowns that shimmered between silver and deep violet. Their bioluminescent tattoos pulsed with rapid intensity, their faces a tableau of resolute determination laced with nervousness. "We need to talk," Celine stated, her voice firm. "About what?" Danny inquired. "About the competition," Ara answered. "About primary bonding status. And about what happens if we can't make this work." Danny stepped aside, allowing them entry. "What about it?" he asked. Celine continued. "We've considered your proposal, about uniting instead of vying. And we've realized something," she confessed. "We don't just wish to save our species. We wish to save each other." "And we want to save you too," Celine added, her gaze unwavering. "The only path forward is to make this successful." Danny observed them, standing in his room in their ethereal attire, their tattoos alive with emotion and resolve. "What are you proposing?" "We're saying we're committed," Ara declared. "Completely," Celine affirmed. "Whatever it demands. We trust you," Celine added softly. "And we're ready to discover what intimate compatibility testing truly entails." Danny's heart pounded in his chest. "Tonight. Tonight," they echoed in unison. Danny met their gaze, the gravity of the moment settling upon him. Every subsequent action would shape not only his destiny, but the fate of 2 entire civilizations. "Are you certain?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. "We are," Celine confirmed, stepping closer. "And you?" Danny looked at them, 2 luminous, intelligent, resolute women who had placed their lives, and the survival of their species, in his hands. Prudence dictated a cautious approach, adhering to protocol, allowing scientific oversight. But caution had never been Danny's forte. "I'm sure," he responded. As they closed the door behind them, he felt the distinct sensation that Act 2 of his life had irrevocably begun. The dawn that followed irrevocably altered everything. Danny awoke to sunlight painting his room and Director Chen's voice resonating from the intercom. "All personnel report to the main conference room immediately. We have visitors from Earth Command." He sat up, the night's events still swirling in his mind. The twins had remained until sunrise, transforming an intimate compatibility test into a profound connection. Hours of shared vulnerability and conversation had forged a bond that defied scientific convention. They hadn't merely tested compatibility, they had discovered it. A gentle knock interrupted his thoughts. Opening the door, Danny found Celine, fully dressed, her bioluminescent tattoos still pulsing with a soft, contented rhythm. "Good morning," she greeted, her voice imbued with a new warmth that sent a tremor through him. "Sleep well?" "The best sleep I've had in years." Danny moved closer, drawn by her presence. "You Elsarians don't require as much sleep as humans," he noted. She smiled. "I found myself reluctant to leave. Where's Alara?" "Preparing for the Earth Command briefing. She's concerned about our deviation from A coldness washed over Danny. How worried should I be? Worried enough that Celine's superiors want a return to competitive trials. He turned to her, watching the luminous patterns beneath her skin pulse brighter. And you, Celine? Her voice resonated. Competitive selection is an inferior methodology. Collaborative compatibility achieves superior outcomes. A wry smile touched Danny's lips. Is that the scientific term for last night? Celine countered with a playful glint. That's the diplomatic term. And the truth? He pressed gently. The truth, Danny, is a revolutionary advancement in interspecies connection. Her playfulness faded, replaced by a deep seriousness. What we achieved, that three-way mind meld, the shared feelings, the way our differences wove together. It's not just new. It's evolved beyond the original project design. Evolved how? He questioned. More reliable, more complete, more fulfilling. She took his hand, and that familiar electric warmth coursed through him. The old project was fueled by rivalry and lack. We created something from abundance and trust. A flicker of doubt crossed his face. Will Earth Command see it that way? Celine met his gaze squarely. They will see the results, Danny. Results beyond anything they imagined. They entered the conference room. All, surrounded by charts, data, and official paperwork, looked up, her expression unreadable. Good morning, Mr. Cooper. Did you rest well? Very well, thank you. Danny took a seat. Celine says you're concerned about our methods. All's voice was measured. I'm concerned about justifying our methods to those expecting predictable outcomes. But, she gestured to the data is incredible. Telepathic harmony is 3 times higher than anticipated. Psychological stability is off the charts, and compatibility markers point to sustained harmony, not just successful breeding. That sounds like good news, Danny offered cautiously. It is good news. It's also nowhere near the command's projected trajectory. All's fingers tapped a nervous rhythm on the table. They authorized a breeding plan, not a relationship experiment. Danny pushed back gently. Perhaps the breeding plan was flawed from the outset. Perhaps, All conceded, but it's what they're investing in. The doors opened, and Director Chen ushered in 3 figures in military uniforms. Danny recognized that familiar, hard-edged look of authority. Mr. Cooper, Director Chen announced, this is General Morrison from Earth Command, Dr. Patricia Williams from the Joint Species Research Council, and Colonel Martinez from Xenobiological Assessment. Danny stood, shaking hands with individuals who radiated skepticism. A pleasure to meet you. General Morrison, his voice clipped, took his seat. We're here to review the Elsarian Genetic Restoration Project. Our reports highlight anomalies. Dr. Williams, consulting her datapad, elaborated. Deviations from protocol, collaborative pairings instead of competitive selection, shared living arrangements, and levels of emotional connection far exceeding the program's parameters. And the outcomes? Danny asked, his voice carefully neutral. All slid a folder across the table. Outcomes that surpass all expectations. Compatibility indexes unprecedented. Psychological stability indicating exceptional long-term potential. Reproductive indicators that would be compelling, if we could replicate it. Colonel Martinez interjected. The Elsarian Council approved a specific methodology. Other human candidates are already in preparation based on that methodology. Danny challenged, what if that methodology is flawed? The methodology is proven science, Dr. Williams countered. Pair bonding maximizes offspring production and minimizes psychological risks. Celine spoke, her voice soft, yet commanding. What if collaborative bonding produces superior results? General Morrison shut down the debate. Superior results are irrelevant if they cannot be reproduced reliably. We need a plan that functions for many human Elsarian pairs, not just one isolated case. Frustration began to simmer within Danny. So you'd rather have a plan that functions poorly for everyone than one that succeeds brilliantly for some? We'd rather have a plan that ensures the survival of the species through consistent reproduction, Dr. Williams said, not experimental relationship configurations. Celine's voice was firm. The relationship configuration is functioning. The data shows compatibility levels that are unheard of. The data shows an aberration, Colonel Martinez corrected, one that cannot be replicated with other subjects. Danny surveyed the faces around the table, a mixture of bureaucratic inflexibility and scientific doubt. These individuals had traveled to tell him that his triumph was inconvenient. I won't return to that old program, Danny challenged, his voice laced with defiance. General Morrison's curt reply, "You signed a contract," hung heavy in the air. The assessment, he insisted, demanded adherence to established protocols, choosing between the two candidates, initiating standard pair bonding. Danny felt the twins' shared anxiety, their telepathic bond, a palpable ache. After their shared breakthroughs, this felt like a cruel regression, treating them as mere specimens. "No," Danny repeated, his voice firm. Dr. Williams recoiled, visibly shocked. "I refuse to go back to that cutthroat program." Director Chen intervened smoothly. "Mr. Cooper, the program has specific guidelines." "Stupid guidelines," Danny exploded. "You expect me to choose between two remarkable women who thrive together, to discard our collaborative bonding breakthroughs, and pretend forced competition is somehow scientific? It's not science," General Morrison countered. "It's about consistent results." "Then replicate these results," Danny retorted, gesturing to Alar's comprehensive report. "Find other humans compatible with multiple Elsarians. Form collaborative teams, not forced pairings. Build something better." Colonel Martinez scoffed. "That's not how government programs function." A pregnant silence hung in the air. A profound mix of awe and fear pulsed through Danny's connection with the twins. He'd just challenged the U.S. military's very approach to saving two dying species. "Mr. Cooper," General Morrison said slowly, "you're advocating a program overhaul based on personal preference. I'm advocating for an overhaul based on irrefutable data showcasing collaborative bonding's superiority across the board," Dr. Williams added emphatically. "With these individuals, under these conditions. Replicate these conditions. Find more like me. Stop treating this like a livestock breeding operation. It's a groundbreaking interspecies relationship." Colonel Martinez appeared deeply offended by the word relationship. "This is a genetic restoration project, not a dating agency." "Maybe it should be both," Danny countered, rising, the gravity of his decision settling upon him. He wouldn't return to the program's arbitrary competition, wouldn't choose between Alar and Celine, wouldn't diminish their collaborative success. Director Chen pressed. "Mr. Cooper, if you refuse, what then? Will you defy us? Drag you back to your trailer, pretend this never happened?" Danny surveyed the room. "Two species are dying, and you've found a solution. Your bureaucratic hurdles are your problem, not mine." General Morrison sighed. "It's not that simple." "It is that simple. You want results? I'm delivering results. Reproductive compatibility? I'm demonstrating it. Long-term stability? Look at the twins." Dr. Williams interjected. "We need protocol compliance." "Why?" Danny asked quietly. "Control. Guaranteed success." "Your protocols were failing," Danny pointed out. "The competitive approach caused psychological stress, crippling bonding. Collaboration eliminated that stress, yielding superior outcomes." Colonel Martinez countered. "Superior outcomes that are unreproducible." "Unreproducible or unwilling to be reproduced?" Celine questioned, highlighting the crucial difference. The officials exchanged tense glances. Danny felt like an observer at a pivotal chess match, the players considering overturning the board. General Morrison finally asked, "What exactly is your proposal?" "Let us continue our work," Danny stated. "Document it, analyze it, learn from it. When you expand, build on what truly works, not on outdated assumptions." Dr. Williams sneered. "That's not a proposal. It's an ultimatum." "A suggestion with consequences," Danny corrected. "And those consequences are?" Danny met the twins' gaze, drawing strength from their shared connection. "Force me back, and I'll deliberately fail. You'll be back to square one, two dying species, and no solution." "You're threatening sabotage," Dr. Williams accused. "I'm threatening to refuse participation in an inferior program compared to what we've already achieved," Danny retorted. Silence descended once more, broken only by the hum of the air conditioning and the distant desert wind. "Give us a moment," General Morrison finally conceded, leaving the officials in hushed deliberation. Engrossed in hushed whispers, Danny watched the twins, their hands clasped beneath the table, their shared anxiety and burgeoning hope palpable through their bond. "That's either incredibly brave or incredibly reckless," he murmured. "Both," Danny conceded. "Definitely both," Celine agreed, "but absolutely necessary." General Morrison addressed them. "Mr. Cooper, we propose a compromise. Continue your current methods for a month. meticulously document everything, providing exhaustive data on collaborative bonding efficacy. If the results warrant expansion, we'll revise protocols. Otherwise, you select a candidate and proceed with standard pair bonding. Danny saw the twins' intertwined hope and fear in their luminous eyes. A month a short time, yet longer than this morning. "Deal," he said. Dr. Williams, taking notes, added, "We need daily reports, biometrics, psychological assessments." "You'll get results," Danny interrupted. "How we achieve them is our business." Colonel Martinez countered, "This remains a government program. There are stipulations." "The only stipulation is success," Danny declared. "Let us define success." Later, alone, the weight of their commitment pressed down. 30 days, Alar stated, to prove collaborative bonding surpasses competitive assessment. 30 days to save 2 species, Celine added. "No pressure," Danny reassured them. "What we've built is real. We just need to document it authentically. And if it's unreplicable," Danny considered, "we'll have 30 days of something beautiful before they force a choice." "Not exactly encouraging," Alar observed. "It's honest," Celine countered, squeezing Alar's hand. "Honest is better than false hope." "So what's next?" Alar asked. Danny surveyed the sterile room, then the twins, their radiant skin and pulsing bioluminescent tattoos reflecting their emotions. "We stop pretending this is a government program and build something truly effective." "What does that look like?" Alar questioned. "I don't know," Danny admitted, "but it certainly doesn't look like this." 3 days later, Danny stood in the observatory's dome, amidst equipment unseen upon his arrival. His guitar rested near a makeshift workbench, beside a barbecue and a cooler of beer. A hammock hung between pillars, string lights casting a warm glow over the transformed space. "This is highly irregular," Alar stated, consulting her tablet from a hammock, "converting a research facility into a recreational area." "It's not recreational," Danny replied, adjusting the grill. "It's environmental optimization for collaborative bonding." "Environmental optimization," Celine echoed, grinning. "I like that." "The acoustics are dreadful for documentation," Alar continued, though smiling. "The lighting's insufficient for biometrics, and the informal setting violates scientific protocol." "How are compatibility readings?" Danny asked. Alar checked her tablet. "Unprecedented. Our stress levels are minimal. Emotional resonance is stable and consistent. Telepathic connection strength has increased 400% since relocating." "Sounds pretty scientific to me," Celine said. "You're right. I'm overthinking," Alar admitted. Danny had spent 3 days transforming the observatory into a home. The sterile environment had hindered their true selves. "You can't fake this kind of connection," he explained, flipping burgers. "You can't manufacture it or force it. You can only foster the conditions for it to blossom naturally." "And this is natural?" Celine asked, gesturing to the blend of human and Elsarian technology. "This is us," Danny affirmed. "Human creativity meeting Elsarian precision, your technology adapting to our comfort. It's collaboration, not assimilation." "The collaboration hypothesis," Alar noted. 2 species creating something neither could achieve alone." "Exactly. And it's working. It is working." Danny's reports to Earth Command documented compatibility levels that dwarfed the original parameters. More importantly, they had found something genuine, true partnership. Aboard the ship, a sanctuary born from a mission redefined, Celine reclined in her hammock, an Elsarian text in hand. "Danny," she began softly, "what understanding do you possess of human family dynamics?" Danny, nearby, responded, "The basics, I suppose. Parents, siblings, marriage, offspring." Celine paused. "Elsarian families differ significantly. We forge bonds based on shared purpose and profound compatibility, exceeding mere romantic inclination. It's akin to extended families, to chosen kin, where multiple adults collaboratively nurture children, pool resources, and provide emotional scaffolding." She gently placed the text aside. "Your innovative approach to bonding resonates unexpectedly with traditional Elsarian family structures. We aren't merely pioneering a novel relationship." Alara chimed in. "We're architecting a hybrid family paradigm." Danny paused, spatula in hand, a burger mid-flip. "A hybrid family model," he mused, "potentially viable for both our species. In theory, and perhaps even in practice, if we demonstrate its enduring nature." Celine, ever observant, added, "Speaking of sustainability, I've meticulously analyzed the reproductive compatibility data." A flicker of anticipation sparked within Danny. The three-way telepathic connection appears to amplify fertility markers for both Elsarian participants. The inherent emotional stability curtails stress hormones, those biological impediments to conception, while the collaborative support network cultivates optimal conditions for offspring development. Danny's voice rose slightly. Are you suggesting what I think you're suggesting? I am positing that collaborative bonding transcends mere psychological benefits. It appears to be biologically advantageous. Danny set down his spatula with a resounding thud. That's revolutionary. Profoundly so. Celine concurred, her voice laced with excitement. If we can meticulously document these findings, it will reshape both species' understanding of reproduction and child-rearing. No pressure then, Danny quipped, a grin spreading across his face. Alara mirrored his smile. None whatsoever. As the desert sun painted the observatory windows in fiery hues, they shared their meal. The conversation flowed seamlessly between Earth customs and Elsarian traditions, each offering unique insights that enriched the other's understanding. On Elsaraya, Celine began, we have a saying, 3 minds think as one, but 1 mind thinks as 3. What's the meaning behind that? Danny asked, intrigued. It signifies that collaboration amplifies perspectives rather than diminishing them. When 3 individuals truly unite, each transcends their individual limitations. That's beautiful, yet terrifying, Danny admitted. Why terrifying? Celine pressed. Because we aren't just forging a relationship. We're cultivating a nascent form of collective consciousness. Alara, already making notes, added, the collective consciousness hypothesis. Individual identity enhanced through shared experience. Is that happening to us? Danny asked, a hint of awe in his voice. Celine replied, I cannot definitively say, but I experience heightened clarity of thought in your presence. I perceive aspects of myself previously obscured. Alara nodded in agreement. My analytical capabilities are augmented by your emotional depth and by Danny's ingenious problem-solving. We are greater than the sum of our individual parts. Danny gazed at them, feeling the veracity of their words resonate through their telepathic bond. So what course of action do we take when our month concludes? Celine answered resolutely. We present our creation. We demonstrate that collaborative bonding yields superior results across every quantifiable metric. And should they still demand we choose between competitive candidates, then we will choose each other, the 3 of us. Consequences be damned. A surge of affection washed over Danny. That's an enormous commitment. Celine responded, it is the only commitment worthy of our dedication. This extends beyond us. It is about forging a novel paradigm for interspecies collaboration. Danny repeated, no pressure. In perfect unison, they replied, none whatsoever. The following morning brought an unexpected guest. Danny was tuning his guitar when Director Chen arrived, accompanied by a young man in mechanics coveralls, a familiar face. Jake? Danny exclaimed, recognizing his brother despite the official escort. What brings you here? Jake replied, got a call saying you required technical support, his gaze sweeping across the unconventional observatory with evident bewilderment. This isn't quite what I envisioned. And what did you envision? Danny asked. A clandestine government lab, sterile surroundings, perhaps even alien autopsy tables? Danny chuckled. The aliens are very much alive, and they much prefer collaborative bonding to autopsy tables. Collaborative bonding? Jake raised an eyebrow. I'll elucidate later. First, allow me to introduce you to my partners. Danny led Jake to where the twins were reviewing compatibility data at a workstation. Alara looked up, her golden eyes meeting Jake's brown ones with curiosity. Jake, Danny began, this is Alara and Celine. Ladies, this is my brother Jake. A pleasure to meet you, Jake said, shaking Alara's hand. Danny's told me a lot. Actually, Danny hasn't told me anything, but I'm sure he meant to. Alar's voice softened, a captivating melody hinting at profound interest. Jake's a brilliant mechanic, Danny explained. He repairs anything with a motor. Alar's vibrant tattoos pulsed with excitement. Human mechanical systems, the intricate dance of moving parts creating elegant function, fascinate me. Engines do just that, Jake replied, a touch mesmerized by her. Would you witness our hybrid technology integration? Alar invited, gesturing to the workstation. We've adapted Elsarian biotechnology to interweave with human mechanics. Jake eagerly accepted, his tone echoing a hidden meaning. Alar, radiating grace, led the way, revealing the ingenious acoustic modifications Danny had crafted. Jake's eyes followed Alar's every movement, her tattoos pulsing with a palpable energy. "Your brother seems kind," Celine observed, her voice gentle. "Good, practical, and honest. He values pragmatism, you see?" "I have noticed. Is that a problem?" Celine asked. "An opportunity. Jake's straightforward nature could help her see solutions, simpler than she thinks." Jake, brimming with enthusiasm, explained the complex workings of the hybrid workstation to Alar, who examined it with keen interest. "Compatible?" he queried. "About to find out," Celine replied. "Are you accepting of this?" Danny questioned, his thoughts lingering on the program's foundation. Exclusive pair bonding, already challenged by their collaborative model. If Jake and Alar connected, the dynamics would intensify. "Absolutely," he declared, his voice firm. "I encourage it. Alar deserves someone who cherishes her unique brilliance, not just her scientific prowess. Jake, someone who intellectually stimulates him, appreciating his hands-on skills." "What about us?" Celine asked. "If Alar and Jake bond, where does our collaborative model fit?" Danny felt their telepathic link, their shared warmth, and responded, "It grows. Instead of a singular relationship, it's multiple relationships, supporting each other. A family," Celine completed, "just as you envisioned." They observed as Jake and Alar intertwined, their bond deepening. Jake's direct approach soothed Alar's scientific precision, her alien intelligence captivating him. Nightfall brought them working together, their heads bent over technical diagrams, optimizing the observatory's hybrid systems. "Fast," Celine commented as they prepared dinner. "Yes, truly inevitable," Danny agreed. Jake embodies all that she finds appealing in human practicality, and she encapsulates all that he finds in scientific accuracy. Plus, she's stunning, and he's not oblivious to beauty. But that's only the surface. Their strengths complemented each other, their differences, their compensation. Like us, but different. Danny watched as Jake expertly adjusted a biotechnological interface, both of them laughing at something he said. "Good," he murmured. "Really good." Why? Because collaborative bonding is proven, a successful methodology for varying individuals and dynamics. "Elegant, survival," Celine stated. Outside, in the cool desert air, Danny and Celine watched the stars. Danny felt profound peace. Celine asked, "Are you happy?" A month ago, unemployment, a trailer, and self-destructive drinking. Now, an experiment that might save 2 civilizations. "Yes, happy," he confessed. "Terrified," Celine admitted. "My world is fading, my species endangered, and I'm falling for a human who finds humor in alien reproductive protocols." "Terrifying," Danny affirmed, "and the most alive I've felt." Their telepathic bond flared, fear, joy, and desperate hope interwoven. "What do you want?" Danny asked. "Not for your species, not for the program, but for yourself?" A yearning for enduring love ignited a profound desire to forge a family bridging 2 worlds. Danny craved children raised on the unwavering strength of love, a transformation demanding a complete life reevaluation. Gazing at the observatory, a testament to interspecies collaboration, a vibrant hybrid haven, Danny felt the suffocating grip of his old life loosening, replaced by a newfound aliveness. "We're building this," Danny declared, "a hybrid family model, grounded in collaborative connection, for all 4 of us." Celine echoed the commitment. Laughter, a promise of the future, rippled through the desert air as Jake and Alara shared technical insights. Weeks later, Danny stood in the observatory's grand dome, observing Director Chen meticulously analyze the groundbreaking report. The dense document, holding the key to revolutionizing interspecies relations, contained unprecedented biometric data, a symphony of compatibility, stability, and reproductive potential, a testament to the powerful bond. "Unprecedented fertility markers," Director Chen marveled. "It works," Danny whispered, filled with a surge of pride and relief. This successful interspecies bonding experiment, surpassing the original program's ambitions, had to be shared. The path forward presented a choice: acceptance or the preservation of a historic breakthrough. Inside the observatory, a home created by collaboration, Jake and Alara meticulously calibrated hybrid sensors, while Celine documented their collaborative approach. The observatory was more than just a structure. It felt like home, providing solace and belonging. "What comes next?" Danny asked the director. The answer was both exhilarating and ominous. The choices arrived that afternoon, in the form of General Morrison, Dr. Williams, and a new face, Dr. Kim from Reproductive Sciences. General Morrison's words felt heavy in the observatory's relaxed atmosphere. Your preliminary data is exceptional. Exceptional yet fundamentally outside the approved methodology, added Dr. Williams. A 4-person collaborative bond, hybrid families, and comfort-focused environments, forbidden pathways leading to this unprecedented success. Now, they were aware of the potential. This successful bonding model works for these 4 individuals, Dr. Kim stated, but can it be replicated? 3 other human candidates, possessing similar psychological profiles and telepathic capabilities, were identified. General Morrison's proposal was simple. Compatibility testing with Elkarian volunteers. Excitement surged through Danny's telepathic link with the twins, but hope was quickly crushed. You're assessing completion, Dr. Williams stated, not replication. The successful collaboration would be disassembled. The team's dismantling will expand the program, General Morrison declared. Your achievement will save civilizations. However, Danny felt the familiar sting of manipulation, a recurring theme in these discussions. This is about species survival, said Dr. Williams, but it's about relationships built on trust and affection. The collaborative bond generated the results, Danny retorted, not bureaucratic manipulation. It thwarted it. General Morrison declared, bureaucratic maneuvering is the key. It's our only hope to save both civilizations. Danny, sensing the twins' intertwined hope and fear, saw Jake's silent nod of unwavering support. I have a better approach, Danny announced. Train new candidates here, using our proven method. Instead of replicating our success in sterile labs, let's create more spaces fostering natural collaborative bonds. Dr. Williams countered, that's not how government programs operate. Precisely, Danny retorted, which explains their shortcomings. Morrison pressed Cooper. Mr. Cooper, will you cooperate with an expanded program? Danny responded, I'll cooperate with a program that builds upon, not abandons, our achievements. Officials exchanged uneasy glances. Your proposal, they inquired. Establish a training center here, Danny proposed, gesturing around the observatory. A model of interspecies collaboration. Let candidates learn from those who've already triumphed. This is crucial for both species' survival and for what Jake, Alara, Celine, and I aspire to achieve. Their shared agreement flowed through their connection. The officials huddled again, their murmured discussions revealing genuine contemplation. Unprecedented results, resource allocation, political ramifications. Finally, Morrison offered a compromise. Establish your center here. If collaborative bonding proves scalable, we expand your program. Failure means reverting to traditional methods. 6 months, Danny realized. 3 candidate groups, comprehensive records, tangible results. 6 months to demonstrate collaborative bonding's viability, to save 2 species. Jake grinned. Lara assessed the odds. Celine's gaze radiated trust and affection. Deal, Danny affirmed. The officials left, and Danny, with his partners, felt the weight of their commitment. Alara, 6 months to train multiple teams. Jake, to prove others can replicate our success. Celine, to save 2 worlds. No pressure, Danny chuckled. None whatsoever, they echoed. Are we crazy? Danny asked. Celine, completely. But we're the right kind of crazy, the kind that builds, instead of accepting demise. Alara added, the kind that fixes, not just complains. Jake agreed. Danny looked around hybrid technology, living spaces, thriving interspecies collaboration, and said, then let's be crazy, together. Underneath the desert stars, Celine confessed her fear, her hope, and her profound love for Danny. The fertility markers, they're not theoretical. Danny's heart froze. What are you saying? Celine whispered, I'm saying. A profound connection bloomed, a bond that wasn't just optimal, it was generative. Celine's bioluminescent skin pulsed with nascent joy. Danny, I'm pregnant. The world shifted. You're pregnant! The first human Elzarian hybrid child proof of their collaborative triumph, a testament to their shared love and biological success. Danny stared, processing the awe-inspiring news. Are you certain? Elzarian indicators were undeniable. Their telepathic link amplified fetal development, her intuition witnessing the nascent consciousness forming. Human curiosity, entwined with Elzarian insight, her compassion, his meticulous analysis, a child of unparalleled potential. She placed his hand on her belly. Our child, something wholly new. Tears welled in Danny's eyes. How long have you known? Since yesterday. And you're happy? Terrified, ecstatic, utterly overwhelmed. I'm going to be the mother of the first hybrid child. You, the father of a new kind of person. A new kind of person? It was huge, terrifying, wonderful, revolutionary. Silent awe settled around them, their hands clasped, realizing the scale of their undertaking. They were building more than a relationship. They were forging a family that bridged worlds. Does this change training? Everything, Celine whispered. We're not just proving collaboration. We're creating the future for both species. No pressure. None at all. Danny gazed at the desert stars, imagining the child within Celine, a child of both worlds, a pioneer, a new generation, bridging the gap between cultures. Celine, will you marry me? Her eyes met his. What? Will you marry me? His desire, unconditional, an eternal partnership. I want to be your husband, the father of our child, your partner in creating the future. You don't have to. I want to. What we've built is worth making forever. Celine's tattoos blazed. Yes, yes, yes. They embraced, his heart throbbing with her joy, fear, and love. I love you. I love you too, she replied. And I love our family. All four of us, plus one. Danny looked at her belly, their future child. Plus one. Jake and Alara appeared. Everything all right? Perfect, Danny said. Celine and I are getting married. Alara's tone suggested more was unfolding. And we're having a baby. A hybrid child? Jake gasped. The first of its kind. Extraordinary, terrifying, wonderful. It's happening, Celine affirmed. Ready or not. As ready as one can be. Honest. Honest is all we have, and each other. Standing on the balcony, they were a team, a collaboration, the vast desert sky, a canvas for a universe of possibilities. So now what? Train collaborative teams, document, and prepare to parent, marry the first human Elsarian wedding, a new beginning under the starlit desert. And try not to dwell on the small fact that 2 entire species are counting on us, Jake quipped, breaking the tension. Absolutely no pressure, Danny responded, a nervous laugh escaping. None whatsoever, came the echoed reply. Epilogue. A year had blossomed. Danny Cooper stood bathed in the soft glow of the observatory dome, the setting sun painting the desert canvas as his 6-month-old daughter cooed from her crib. Luna, named for the moon that had borne witness to her parents' improbable meeting, was a marvel, a tapestry woven from human and Alarian threads. She had her father's warm, brown eyes and her mother's radiant, shifting skin, a kaleidoscope of pinks and lavenders reflecting her every whim. She's breathtaking, Dr. Sarah Kim murmured, a frequent visitor and a pillar of what was now known as the Cooper Elsarian Cultural Exchange Center. She's absolute perfection, Danny breathed, lifting Luna and feeling the familiar comforting surge of their telepathic bond. Born with an amplified psychic sense, Luna could convey feelings and rudimentary concepts even before spoken words could form. She's living proof that collaboration isn't just functional. It births something far more radiant than either species could have ever dreamed alone. Dr. Kim tapped at her tablet, noting, the other hybrid children exhibit similar traits: elevated telepathic abilities, robust immune systems, heightened emotional intelligence. They aren't merely surviving, they're surpassing their parents' potential. Danny's gaze swept over the observatory, where 3 other collaborative bonding teams were nurturing new life. The training program had flourished so profoundly that Earth Command had greenlit 5 additional facilities. The outdated, cutthroat assessment model was forever shelved, replaced by compassionate collaborative bonding protocols. Any word from the Alarian Council? He inquired. They're dispatching a delegation next month to inaugurate permanent cultural exchange outposts on Earth. Your monumental success has persuaded them that interspecies kinship isn't just viable, but deeply preferable to isolated paths, she responded. And the human government is all in. A smile played on Danny's lips. When you rescue 2 entire species and pioneer a fresh paradigm for interspecies harmony, folks tend to lend an ear. He reflected on that lottery ticket, scrawled on a whim in some dive bar over a year earlier. I thought I was just some grease monkey with a wrench. Turns out, I was the universe's grease monkey. Dr. Kim chuckled, adding, "The universe's grease monkey. I like that." Celine emerged from their living quarters, the gentle swell of their second child beginning to show. "Danny, Jake wants to know if you're ready for the ceremony." "As ready as I'll ever be." Hand in hand, they walked toward the heart of the observatory, where Jake and Alara were preparing for their own wedding vows. It was a sacred event that would be beamed across both Earth and Ilaria, an enduring emblem of the miraculous success of interspecies unison. "Nervous?" Danny asked his brother. "Terrified," Jake confessed, a nervous flutter in his voice. "But also exhilarated. Alara is teaching me to perceive in ways I never could have imagined. Alara's tattoos pulsed with inner light. And he is teaching me to feel with an intensity I never believed possible," she murmured, her bioluminescent markings shimmering with contentment. "Collaborative bonding isn't simply about procreation. It's about transcending who you were destined to be alone." Celine squeezed Danny's hand. "We've learned that love expands, never divides, that working in unison creates abundance, not scarcity." Danny scanned the transformed space, the other collaborative bonding teams, the breathtaking hybrid technology, the cozy living quarters that had replaced sterile laboratories. They had forged something entirely unprecedented, not just triumphant interspecies relationships, but a new blueprint for civilizations to thrive together. "Ready?" he asked. "Ready," they echoed in perfect accord. As the ceremony commenced, Danny cradled Luna, his heart overflowing as he watched his brother pledge his life to an alien woman who had become family. The desert stars blazed overhead, and Danny felt suspended at the very epicenter of something vast and majestic. Once a failed satellite technician, adrift and without purpose, he now stood as a linchpin in a program that had salvaged 2 worlds, forged a fresh model for interspecies coexistence, and welcomed the first generation of hybrid children, destined to bridge the chasm between stars. The universe's grease monkey, indeed. Luna gurgled contentedly, her skin cycling through a breathtaking palette of pinks and golds as she watched her uncle marry her aunt. Through their unspoken connection, Danny felt her innocent wonder, her unbounded joy, and her complete acceptance of her family's sprawling, interspecies nature. This was the future they had chosen, not just survival, but a magnificent metamorphosis, not just reproduction, but evolution, not just 2 species barely clinging to life, but 2 species finding a way to become exponentially better together. As Jake and Alara spoke their vows beneath the timeless desert stars, Danny felt the full weight of their accomplishments settling over him. They had transformed a program of competition and division into a sanctuary of love and collaboration. Danny, a universe's indispensable wrench, felt the universe's embrace. His touch, once a simple tool, now forged a future, vibrant with shared love and boundless possibility. He'd birthed a new kinship, a family beyond limits, saving 2 species from the crushing choice. He'd sculpted a future, not from the constraints of the present, but from collaboration and abundance. "No pressure," he whispered to Luna, her joyous gurgle a sweet affirmation. Celine's hand, warm in his, echoed that reassuring peace. The ceremony's glow faded into a celebration, leaving Danny, the universe's cosmic craftsman, a man overflowing with celestial luck, a father of a new humanity. The stars, infinite and luminous, bathed the future in their gentle light. I was merely a man with a wrench, a simple tool. Now, I am the wrench the universe needed to craft its very destiny, the first Humanian collaborative bonding specialist, leading the hybrid generation, a director of the Cooper Elsarian Cultural Exchange Center.